So let's start with color pencils. I'm starting with Prismacolor Pencil. These are wax based pencil. They are very soft. The color fastness of this pencil is really nice, meaning that they will be vibrant and bright. With time, they're not going to fade away under light. They would stay as it is for many years. The pencil being a very soft core pencil, so it is great for blending and burnishing method. You'll get some very smooth blending with this pencil, unlike hardcore pencils. But hardcore pencils are useful when it comes to do minute detailing. These being very soft, sometimes doing detailing, very minute detailing may get a little difficult, but otherwise these are one of the best pencils that I have used. So let's start with the first technique, where I am just doing blending with the pencils and I'm not doing any burnishing. Okay, so I'm using just the pencil. So you see the pencil being very soft. You can see the texture of the paper through this. So I'm going for the next layer. I'm taking that orange slightly into that red so that it blends very well. I'm doing this slightly lighter here. So let me use the third color to blend this. I'm taking that yellow slightly into my orange as well. So see, lighter colors kind of tend to cover the pores of the paper slightly better. I'm going to go one more layer here on the extreme left to make it darker. So you see, this method of blending may not cover the pores of the paper completely. So that's blending just with the pencils. Now let's try this method, wherein again I'm laying down the color on the paper. You can go in circular motions if you want to avoid the strokes. So I have applied only one layer here, and then I'm going for the second layer. I've done that red quite a bit. I've just done one layer here because I'm going to blend it with the colourless blender here. So you get colourless blender in pencil form. Like this. So this is just the wax without any pigment in it, okay? So this is just the wax without any pigment in it. See? So I'm going to use this, and just like I use any pencils for coloring, I'm going to use this over the color that I have used. Now you see, if I use this with the colors, even with one single layer, I'm able to get a smooth laying of that color on the paper. So all that tooth of the paper gets nicely covered with this. So this is called the burnishing method, where you're trying to create a smooth effect, smooth blending effect with your pencil, with your blender. And here I did several layers. Here I did just single layer, or maybe just 2 layers, and then I'm kind of blending. See, so the tooth of the paper gets filled very nicely. This helps in getting the colors into that texture of the paper, and you can pretty much get any kind of smooth blending with this kind of burnishing. Now if I want to go for more layers on top of it, I can always do that. So I've done that. Now if I feel I want to go use more colors on top of that, I can go and put another layer of color on top of that. If I want to create a little more blending. So see, this has a grainy effect and this has a very smooth effect. I can add another layer here. If I want to make it darker, I can blend in some more darker color if I want to. Maybe okay, it doesn't make much of a difference. Maybe a brown I'll try. So here, if you like this kind of effect, that grainy kind of effect, then you can use this method. So you can do like that. If you want to blend this also into this, okay, this blender works well for the first few layers, much better. I will tell you what other technique we could do for subsequent layers, for blending subsequent layers, although this is also blended well. So when we use this method, the color of the pencil stays the same. Yeah. Now let's use burnishing. Let's do burnishing with white pencil and see what happens. I'll do one more layer of that red, otherwise it will be too light against the orange. Okay, now let's take our white pencil and do the burnishing. So let's start burnishing this with the white pencil. So this also does the blending very well. See, all the grains of the paper slowly beginning to diminish. Okay, let us keep comparing it with the colorless blender. The only thing here, if you notice, is this kind of lightens up the actual color, the actual pigment, the actual color of the pencil, isn't it? The red looks a little pale red. The orange looks a little dull. So if you want a tinted look, then these are great. but you do get a very smooth look with this. Now if you want to make the color bright, you need to do one more layer on top of this of the actual color. So that will kind of give you a very, now that the grains are all gone, now when you put the colors, so see it's taking layers so well. But since we have covered the tooth of the paper with 2 shades of color, now the third color, so this kind of coloring, you may not be able to do many layers. Okay. Because you would have filled the tooth of the paper with pigments. But of course you can go for, I mean, like maybe 4 to 5 layers easily. See? So that gets a very smooth kind of feeling. I can add a bit of brown into this. Which brown did I add? Yeah, a darker brown. So this is what, a 4th layer maybe. So see, now it will slightly begin to give little trouble, not much. If you put a little pressure on it, it will still blend. So it has a very rich look. You can move your pencils in different direction. Oops. Yeah, so we've got a very smooth look with this one. Now let's try the last method of burnishing. This is with turpentine. Do the red a little more. Okay. So I'm using distilled turpentine from Camel. Okay. Yeah. So when you take the turpentine, you take very little of the turpentine, preferably on a Taklon brush or a synthetic soft brush, and take off excess of the turpentine from the brush, and then start using that on the Prismacolor. Now when moving from one color to another, you may want to wipe out the little color that's there on the brush, and then see, this way of blending actually saves the tooth of the paper, and we could get many layers of coloring. See, so you can compare yourself as to which method is giving you the best results. And this way of doing burnishing, like with a turpentine, you may have to leave your painting maybe for a few minutes before you start putting the next color on top of it. Turpentine actually dries very quickly, so need not to worry about it. So maybe just within 3 to 5 minutes, and then you can start working on it, maybe even early. Okay, so these were the methods that we could use for burnishing our Prismacolors.